Hi guys, it's Kelly here. I'm back again. This video is featuring the new release from Colorado Crafts and Anita Jeram. This release is so adorable. It's so cute. And actually I used all but 2 stamp sets in this video because I just couldn't make a choice. I just wanted to use them all. They were all so adorable. So anywho, this is part of a release blog hop. Their prize is to be won. So I will link that below. Here, what I'm showing you is if you ever get any of these sets, they're always like colored on the back. The images are colored on the back. So if you ever have any question about what coloring should be, or you need an idea of how to color them, flip over your set. So what you saw there was me kind of laying out my stamps so I could figure out what size card I needed it to be. I really wanted to use them all, as many as I could, but still fit this into an envelope. So I ended up with a 4-inch by 9-inch piece of watercolor cardstock. And then what I'm doing here is I am stamping out all of my masks so that I can build my scene. Because all of these little guys were so adorable, I thought it would be super cute to create like a little garden party scene with all of them bringing in, you know, whatever veggies they have made. I am going to be doing watercoloring, and so I am using Hero Art Intense Black ink. It is waterproof, and so that is how I made the decision to do that. I didn't want my ink bleeding all over the place, and we're going to be using the Karin Brush Pro markers today. So anyway, back to the giveaways. I mean, who doesn't want to win stuff, right? So they're doing a giveaway, random winner along the blog hop. They're doing a giveaway if you shop through the affiliate links, like if you decide this is adorable and you have to have something or all of it, whatever. They do a discount for if you buy all of it, by the way. But anyway, if you shop through the affiliate links, which mine is listed below, in front of it, it'll say Colorado Craft Company Store. That would be the link you would want to use. And then they do a giveaway from those, but it's the whole release, which is amazing. And then they're also doing 3 sets they're giving away on Instagram, if you're on Instagram. So yeah, that covers that. Moving on to the card. So here I used my masks to lay out my scene, and this is super helpful for moving them around and making sure everything is going to fit. And then once I lay my stamps over top of it, pick it up with my Misty, then I can remove my masks and just go ahead and stamp it down. And honestly, not really any of my characters overlapped each other, but I knew one of the sets in this release is called Greener Grass, which is like perfect for scene cards, right? So I knew I wanted to use that to put my grasses in. And so in order to be able to stamp those, I had to have my characters masked so that I could stamp the grass over top of them and it wouldn't stamp over top of them. Yeah, so there's that. So here, because I am stamping on watercolor paper, I did have to go back and re-ink the, just like mostly the section where they were more detailed. I just needed to re-ink that portion, so I did that, and then I will put my masks back in place and then just continue my stamping as I normally would to get my whole scene built. This little, is he a guinea pig? Is he a guinea pig? Is he a gerbil? Is he a hamster? What is he? What do you think he is, this little guy? Anyway, he clearly is tumbling some peas out of his little hands, which I thought was totally adorable. But he was stamped in the front because he is so small, but also so I would not have to mask those peas. That was a purposeful choice on my part because I was like, I am not cutting out all these little teeny tiny circles of peas. So like I said, for the most part, they didn't even really overlap each other. As the little guinea pig hamster gerbil did with this bunny, like the little bunny's foot. But I think really that's the only one. So then once all of the stamping is done, all of my masks are back in place. I also didn't mask the birds and the butterflies in the top portion that I'm stamping because my grass is not going to go that high. My grass is not going to go to the sky. So really the masks were just in place for the grasses. as you can see here, and I know it was difficult to see when we were doing the stamping vertically, but you can see here that my watercolor paper is actually a little bit too big for my Misty, but it actually ended up being fine. I just did the stamping on the part that was flat down in the Misty, and then I moved my cardstock to do the stamping on the other side, and when that was flat. I do have the larger Misty, the 12 by 12, but it really did not seem worth it. And also, I don't think very many people have that. I mean, unless you're a scrapbooker. But I just don't think it's as common as the original size or the mini Misty. So I just wanted to show you also how you would do that if you don't have one of those. Alternatively, you know, there's other people who are coming out with different stamp positioners. I mean, when I first started in the industry, the Fisker's stamp press was huge. And I had one of those, and I never used it. But there was also Stamp-A-Majig. That was a thing, too. But I traditionally just use the Misties and have for years. So once those grasses are stamped, then we are going to move on to the watercoloring. You could really do this with any kind of watercolor that you have. It will work for all of it. Here we're just going to go and remove the masks. I love this part of scene making, is removing all the masks and seeing everything in its entirety. I have this hot pink nail polish on, and so that's why you see me using my scissors to kind of get any of my masks that are really stuck down, so I'm not dragging that across my cardstock. It happens a lot, actually, to me. Probably because I don't really use light colors. But anyway, so I'm using the Karins. You can use whatever you want. I made the decision that for the background, I thought it was going to be easiest to just go in direct with the marker, put down some pigment, and then water that out. Do I have regrets? Some. Not for the grass. The grass was fine. I do have some regrets for the sky. I feel like the bottom of it, even though I tried to like water it down and pull it out, the horizon line was darker than I wanted it to be. And this this is how crafty things happen. So I only have 2 of these sets. I have the skin tones and I have the basics or brights, basics. But anyway, so it doesn't give me a lot of opportunity for like a more desaturated color. So you're going to see in this video, we're going to do quite a bit of color mixing so that I can get some different tones and not everything is super bright. But I did feel like the blue was a little bit too much. And so consequently, I know now after buying these 2 that I do use them and I enjoy them. And so I just went back on Blick Arts and, you know, bought some more because I needed them clearly. Clearly, I needed them. Obviously, I needed them. My husband's not going to see it that way, but it's okay. So here I am putting down some clean water, and then I am pulling out the pigment. So I'm taking the water to the pigment, and then picking up that pigment and pulling it out into the rest of the sky. And that is the best way that I have found to kind of move that, so I'm not putting down tons of pigment everywhere and I'm still getting a smooth blend, is almost using that like baseline that I put down as kind of like a palette. You could also go in with clean water, scribble your marker onto your glass mat or another non-porous surface, and then pick it up with your paintbrush and then move it around that way. If I had to do it all over again, that's probably the way I would have done it. But this is what I chose, and it's okay. The whole card is, watch me color right. Did you see me paint right over that bunny's arm? Don't worry, we'll fix it later. Just painted right over his arm. He's just got one blue arm. But I was happy with it. The intention was to make it very whimsical. It's not supposed to be super realistic. And I knew with the color palette that I had going on that it wouldn't be. It would be more like storybook. And I'm totally fine with that. And honestly, I mean, I think Anita's style that she draws it in really lends itself quite well to that more whimsical feel. Like if you've read any of the books or anything that she's illustrated, that's obviously the feel that she was going for in those cases. So these colors are a little bit brighter, but I will show you how I mix my colors so that I could get more realistic tones, less super bright. I like the super bright for my flowers. That's why, I'm gravitate towards bright colors. That is why I purchased the ones that I purchased. But every once in a while you come up with something where you're like, I don't really want them to be that bright, and you got to figure out a way to work around it. So that's what we're doing today. We're just working around it. Someone had asked me, like, don't come for me. This is why I'm telling you, do not come for me. Someone had asked me in a comment a while ago if I could do a story time about how I do my nails, and several people thumbs up it. So I will talk a little bit about that today. In addition to letting you know that we finally, the little baby finally slept through the night. We had two nights in a row? Well, the first night she wasn't up all night, but it was interrupted sleep for her. And then the second night was the night I was telling you where she was just up, like, it almost seemed like every hour. And then the next night she got up again. So we were on like night 2 of no sleeps. And then last night, praise Jesus. Thank you, Lord. I don't know. My mom jokingly, because I went, I had a hair appointment last night. Normally I don't go in the evening, but that's just what she had available. So my mom watched Caitlin for me, and she put her to bed. And so then when she slept tonight, she was like, it's because Nana has the magic touch. And I was like, then you're going to need to open up your calendar and go ahead and schedule bedtime for every night, if that is what is required, so that I can sleep. Thank you. Please and thank you. So here on the grass, I'm just doing the same thing. I'm just going in and with clean water, pulling that out, moving the pigment around. You can see obviously how bright these are. This green, when you water it down, almost looks like neon, which is funny because that's not how it looks in real life. I mean, it's bright, but on the camera, it literally looks neon green. It's not quite that bright. But then once I have all of this watered down and kind of pulled out, then I'm going to, like I said, start that color mixing process. So one thing that you need to know with color mixing is you have to have some familiarity with the color wheel. And so you can use, let's say you have a green that's super bright and you want it to be more desaturated. You can add a little bit of red to it, which is its complementary color, and that red will knock back the brightness. And so you'll see as I am going through and making decisions, I'm going to put down some green. I put down a little bit of yellow to kind of change the hue of the green. And then I'm just going to put in like a little dot of red. And then I'm trying to figure out what's a good system for me. So this one is just green and a little bit of brown, like a more yellow brown. And then I'm going to mix those together and pick them up, and you'll be able to see that it is still bright, but it is not as bright. And so I pretty quickly realized that I was going to be happier with the green that was mixed more in with the brown, that was going to give me a color I was a little bit happier with. And so that is what I used for the majority of the rest of it. So going in, pretty much the paper is dry at this point because I'm not working with a ton of water. I find that the more water I use, the less control I have. And so that's not really for me. Here, I'm doing the same thing, but this time I skipped the yellow. I just added in the brown because I was happy with that kind of mid-tone color. And then for my darker color, I did the green with that yellowish brown, and then I added just a little bit more red. And you can see, like, as I put it down, it's a pretty decent shadow color for this green, and it's definitely going to help me to bring down that brightness, to kind of knock that back a little bit. At this point we have sped it up, and I'm not, like, this was a card that did take a little bit of time, so that is why there's a need to speed up the process. And then from there, I went in and just did little flicks with my paintbrush to put in kind of some grasses and some texture into that ground. I don't know, like, at the end of it, if it's... No, I'm looking at the card. You can see it. You can see it. I think that it is a worthwhile endeavor, just to add some texture to, because like in the sky, we have it with the lights and the darks that kind of creates like this kind of cloud light look. And so this process puts in more texture into the grasses, so that it is not as plain or boring or flat to look at. And then we're going to start going in, and I started with the vegetables first I did these little green plants. These are so cute. I went in and did it, and then I realized it wasn't really dark enough. So then I'm going to go in straight with the pen, like the watercolor marker pen, and do that as well. Here, just trying to add in a little bit more red to get a different, darker tone, add some shadows to my peas. And then here is where I was like, nah, I'm just going to go in with the marker. I'm just going to go in and do it. And then I will go in with a damp paintbrush, absorb some of that color kind of back, and then add in some shadows just on the side that's closest to the ground is where I added it. So then we're moving on to the vegetables. I tried to get some color variation in my greens just so it wasn't all super one note. And I did that by adding some yellows in some of the vegetables, a little bit of brown in some of the vegetables, and a little bit of like a bluish green color. So just play around with what you have, mix it up, and you should get some pretty good color variation that you're happy with, so that your card front doesn't just look like it's all one color. And you can do that by just, like I said, by adding just one other color or two. You'll always get something different. You can add them in different amounts and get something different. So like this one with the little lettuce plant here, that one's definitely brighter because I added in the yellow. But I still was able to get some pretty decent shadows because the yellow does kind of brighten it up even further. So going in with the marker direct paper with the pure green does give a really good shadow for that. What were we talking about? Oh, my child did sleep through the night. Praise the Lord. Thank you, God. And then... What else? Oh, the nails. That's what we were going to talk about. I'm like, what are we even saying here? So what I meant for when I said, like, don't come for me, people asked me to talk about my nails. I had one like, we did a video the one time where we talked about my hair, and the lady was like, I don't care about your hair. And I'm like, I know that, but other people do. So maybe just mute it. That's a good idea. Mute it and put on your own music. So for my nails, what I do is, and I learned this quite a while ago, I used to get my nails done all the time. And in fact, my poor mother, I got her hooked on getting her nails done because for my 13th birthday, what I wanted was to get my nails done. So for my 13th birthday, I went and got acrylics for the first time. And then I wore them on and off ever since then, but my mother has worn them since then. Mind you, I'm going to be 40, so she's had them for a very long time. So after I got married, the first time, the first marriage, that was the last time I ever got my nails done, as far as acrylics are concerned. I just didn't want to keep up with it as far as going. I always wore them thick and short because I typed for a living, and so I couldn't have super long nails like getting in the way and preventing me from doing my job. So here for the oranges, in order to desaturate these, I added in a smidge of blue. You probably saw that, and again, that is because blue is the complement to orange, and that's why that works. For my grays, I used that for some of the vegetables and then some of the animals. I do have a black marker that came in the basics set, and so I'm using just very little bits, very watered down bits of that. So anyway, I just didn't want to keep up with the acrylics. And I haven't had them for years, even though people always think my nails are fake, which I guess maybe should be a compliment. I'm not sure. Like, I've walked through the mall and have the people with like the nail buffy thing be like, "Oh, can I interest you in a, oh, never mind, you have fake nails." And I was like, "I don't, but that's fine." I also one time was having a process in which I had to be put under anesthesia, and the nurse scolded me, I guess would be the best way to put it, and told me that all fake nails needed to be removed. And I was like, but that is my nail. That's my nail. So, but basically, I used a different top coat, base coat for a long time, which was Sèche Vite, and it's still a good one. Like, if I was still, like, if I had to go back from what I use now, I would still use that one. But that one does sometimes cause some shrinkage, which means that as it dries, it pulls back the nail polish color from the edges. Not with every nail polish, but with enough polishes that it was noticeable. So that one is a good one. But what I use now is I use a base coat, which is Orly's Bonder. You can get it at Target, Walgreens, like it's over the counter. Any nail polish I want. I've used like super cheap Sinful Colors and Wet n Wild, and I have used Essie and OPI, like whatever nail polish I want. For me, this recipe works just as well no matter what nail polish I'm using. And then the absolute must-have portion of the nail painting process for me is the top coat. And the top coat that I use, Christina Warner turned me onto. It used to be called HK Girl, but now they've changed it to just Glisten and Glow top coat. You can only get it online. And you can buy it and then buy a refill bottle, but it dries so incredibly fast, and it helps my nail polish last. Like, so this nail polish that you are seeing in this video, I painted my nails. When did I paint my nails? Saturday? Yeah, I think it was Saturday. No, it wasn't. It was Friday because it was a regular work day. I painted my nails on Friday, and I had just gotten my manicure. Like, I went and got my manicure and pedicure. So I got my manicure on Monday. By Friday, they were chipping terribly, and I think I had broke 2 of them. And so then Friday, I repainted them. I filmed this video yesterday, but I am still currently wearing this nail polish. And so it's been almost a week. No chipping, no issues, no anything like that. It gives me the durability. Now, it's obviously like from a broken nail, you're not going to be able to salvage your top coat through that for the most part. But I mean, as long as you let it cure completely, and what I mean by cure is like it'll be dry to the touch shortly afterward, but like you can't go, do laundry and be grabbing like wet pieces of heavy clothing. Like, it's not that dry. So it does take a little bit of time, as of every other top coat, to cure, but like dry to the touch where I can go do basic things it's so incredibly quick. Typically, I start with my thumb on my left hand and end with my pinky on my right hand, and usually by the time I get to my pinky on my right hand, my thumb on my left hand is dry to the touch. So yeah, just fantastic. And it's a thicker top coat, which I love because that means that it is more durable, it lasts longer. And for those of you who are like, how do I grow my nails? Keep polish on them. Like, nail polish protects them. Don't be like, you don't want to be taking a shower or having your hands in bunches of water or going swimming where you don't have anything, even if you just put the top coat on and no color, because your nails are the most vulnerable when they're wet, when they're waterlogged. That's when they're the most fragile. So you want to make sure that you're protecting them. And really, that is all I do. I don't do anything like as far as vitamins or anything like that to get my nails to grow. and I go through spurts. If you if you watch my videos, you know, like sometimes I've got long ones, sometimes I've got short ones. Sometimes I tell you like my nails were too long, I had to cut them back. And sometimes I'm like, I just busted like 4 of these things and now I have to wear dark nail polish for 2 weeks. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I do. I do file and shape my nails myself. So I just go to Sally Beauty Supply, honestly. I have like a coarse grit nail file. Why couldn't I think of the word nail file? That I shape them with. I prefer what they call squoval, so it's like a square with a rounded edge. And so that's how I shape them. And then I have a buffer. It's like a yellow, they're like 69 cents, honestly. It's like a yellow buffer file that's like, has the buffer on all 4 sides, like a little cube, and that's how I smooth them out. And then, you know, that's pretty much it. Every once in a while, if my cuticles are super dry, I might use some cuticle oil or some lotion, but really nothing spectacular going on here. Just staying on top of keeping them painted, you know, because for a living, people see my hands. And so even if that wasn't true, I mean, even before I did this for a living, I still painted my nails just because it's something that I enjoy and it's something that makes me happy, makes me feel better. It's like playing in makeup or doing my hair. Like it's something I just do for myself. So yeah, that's that story time today. So here we've been painting these little animals up and they're so cute. They're so stinking cute. And I just picked a couple of, you know, various browns that I had. Sometimes I mixed them, sometimes I didn't. I think honestly, my favorite colored one is this bunny I'm doing right now, which I thought comparative to the other browns it would be too green, but it really wasn't. And I did mix it with a little bit of the sepia on the end, and I really liked that as a shadow color as well. So I kept my animals nice and light and just added the browns or grays or whatever where the shadows would be, but just kept them, like I said, it was just supposed to be like a fun, whimsical little scene, and I think that we were able to achieve that. So once the painting was done, like everything was dry, I did go back in and add in just a couple of details onto my vegetables. So like if it looked like a potato, I put in some spots. The one that looks like a melon, I put in like some little hash marks. And then here I'm just filling in any blue that is like an area that I missed. Once everything was completely dry, I went in with a white gel pen and added some highlights and some details. Again, some more details, you know, on the little vegetables, just so that they had a little white highlight. I think that oftentimes in a card that does make it look more fun, more whimsical, just in general. So I knew I wanted to include that. And then the other thing that I did was add some shimmer. That'll come later. For the sentiment, there's so many good sentiments in these, and you certainly don't necessarily need them all. I just couldn't pick between them. But they have ones that like gardening's cheaper than therapy, and you get carrots. Like I'm rooting for you. The Please Forgive Me one, that's like the title of it, and also one of the sentiment, Please Forgive Me. So if you like those, like, you know, fun, whimsy, quirky, like punny sentiments, there's lots of those in these. The two that I did not use was the large background, which has all of the little characters included. I do plan on going back to use that at some point. I just couldn't work it into this scene. And then there's another little bunny that has a carrot with a scarf who is adorable. So I heat embossed the sentiment, and then this kind of empty area that I left on purpose where there's no critters or anything, just the grasses is where I'm going to put it. I had a hard time getting it straight. Not really sure why. So I just put that in, and then here's the little shimmers that I added to the vegetables, the bird, and the butterflies. And then that's it. That's the whole card. So like I said, I will link everything below for you to, you know, go over and participate in the giveaways. Who doesn't want to win things? Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate you, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.